Hi, everybody. This is Liam from TimeDoctor.com. I'm here with Joel from Coalition Technologies. And Joel has an interesting story that he has with regards to productivity for his employees within Coalition Technologies. So you can obviously see it as part of this blog post, but we thought we'd get a little bit more insight from Joel to be able to find out exactly how he overcame the problems that he was having within the organization and made everybody more productive. So thanks for jumping on the call with me, Joel. Why don't we just get straight into it and, tell me a little bit about Coalition Technologies and about, the process that you've had with making your team more productive.
Sure. So Coalition Technologies is a marketing firm. We focus on search engine optimization and website design and development. We have 60 full-time team members, about 25 of whom are in our Los Angeles office, and the other 35 work remotely around the world. Basically what we try and do is find the best people we possibly can, no matter where they are, whether that's Switzerland or Ukraine or India or the Philippines or South America. And so we've got people across the United States as well. So we basically just look to find the best people we can, but managing them remotely has been a very interesting learning experience. There's not a whole lot of literature out there yet about this.
I completely agree with you on that one. It's the moment that that book is written, I think it will be a bestseller. Unfortunately, there's very little written on it right now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel like it hasn't really been possible except for the last 15 or 20 years or so, and there still is very limited tools to support it. I did a lot of research and obviously selected Time Doctor because of the ability to record screenshots and track the tasks and projects, and if there was things that people were away from computer and things like that, that obviously as a business owner or manager, you're kind of concerned. You want to make sure that if you're going to trust somebody to work remotely, it's nice to be able to have some way of sort of seeing what they're working on and maybe giving them guidance if they fall off track.
So connected to the post that you had put together for us, I'd really like to be able to sort of talk about that, that instance of that employee. What were you, and this might be, you might have had a few examples of this, but we focused on just this one. This one. Where was that person beforehand? And then, where are they now in terms of productivity?
So it definitely has been a big difference. And I've seen this not just with the employee in question, but I've seen it with many of our remote team members. But with this specific one in question, we just weren't getting, it was some of the websites were taking too long to get built. There was just questions like the quality wasn't there. There was QA issues, things like that. And rather than just terminate somebody, which would be like one option. When somebody's working remotely, you just have to hope that they're doing it. And if they don't, then you can't work with them. We decided to look into Time Doctor and see like what actually was going on there. And so when you spend a little time and you scan through the screenshots and some of the time report, it actually makes it really easy to identify what some of the causes were. So I think he just didn't feel involved with the team, and I felt like he was isolated, and he frequently would get up from his computer and go do other things and like wasn't always there working on it. And when he was there, you can see from the screenshots, he was spending a little too much time on his Facebook account and messaging and things like that. And there actually wasn't a whole lot of productivity going on. And we do a skills test to try and determine what people's abilities are. So I knew he had the ability to do the work. It was just, why isn't it getting done?
So when you saw this data, and really Time Doctor is just a tool to measure productivity, but you need to then take action to say, what changes are we going to make to be able to make you more productive? So what were those changes that you made with this specific employee to be able to make them more productive?
I think one of the most important things to do when I was reaching out to him was trying to be understanding. I didn't try and make it like a blame placing thing, but I let him know that we know that these are some issues, and we'd like to figure it out with you, how we can make you more productive, how we can get things on track. And I asked him actually for some of his ideas, and I asked him, like, what do you think you can do? And he said, Well, I do know that I spend a little too much time on like Facebook. I I probably just need to like close that off or install one of the browser extensions to block it during my work hours. And I asked him like, okay, well, is there anything else that causes issues? And he was actually on a different time zone, so there was some issue with him being a little bit tired because he wouldn't match the time zones all the time in terms of his sleep schedule. So I was able to address that with him, and that made it easier for him to stay focused while he was actually sitting there at desk working. And just by like kind of answering his questions and working with him to provide that coaching, I think we were able to resolve some issues that were frustrating him, like his sleep schedule and just like not really understanding all the work that he needed to do. And once we kind of clarified those things, he took a lot more initiative and ownership himself to try and get things done.
Yeah. So did you also find, and this is in our personal experience as well, because I deal with this problem all the time within our organization, not not only just within our company, but also for other clients that come to me and talk about this issue. Did you spend any more time interacting with this person? Because I find that a lot of the times remote team people, they don't feel necessarily included in the process as much as the people that are in the office. And since you've got this dualism of, you've got 25 people in a brick and mortar office, and then you've got 35 people that are remote, sometimes they almost sort of feel like second-class citizens, which is unfortunate. And trying to be able to make them as involved as everyone else, I find is a huge challenge. And I'm wondering whether or not you experienced any of that and made any of those types of changes.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest issues that faces us as a company, is actually making sure that our remote team is as included and as excited about what we're doing as the in-house team. It's a real challenge. Things I discovered is people, they have a tendency to only use email or like Google Chat or things like that. We actually have a pretty strong policy saying that like if you have questions or issues, you should do like a Google Hangout call to somebody. You shouldn't just do chats back and forth. So much gets misunderstood. You don't build a relationship through a chat. But if you can actually speak to somebody and see their face and get all the nonverbal signals that come across in a communication, it's just super powerful. So that's one of the things that I push with my team leads, and that's something with the manager that worked with this employee in question as well, was we need to talk to the manager and work with the manager and say, hey, like it's a lot better if you get on the phone, do a screen share and talk and just verbally go through things. Most people don't like to do that. It takes more time, but it's really worth the effort because you establish those relationships, you keep people all on the same page.
One instance that I've had with that is there was a client recently that had hired a designer and was tracking them through Time Doctor. And there was a big issue connected to this employer trying to communicate changes that needed to be made to the designer. So they were sending about 10 or 12 emails a day. And I said, instead of doing that, why don't you use Jing? And I don't know if you know, it's a screenshot software, screen capture software, and you can do a little 5-minute video or an annotated image of the changes that you wanted made. And he was almost at the point where he said, hey, I'm going to quit. I'm basically going to fire this employee and hire someone locally. The moment he was able to implement that piece of software, those 12 emails turned into one Skype chat message, which was, here's the video and exactly what I want done. And they just quadrupled their productivity with that single, that one missing piece. So it's so interesting that the communication that is required through remote team management is one of those things that no one's really been able to master as of yet, or it's something that's so new that it's very difficult to get that. It's good that you guys are being able to implement that as a policy to say, hey, video is the way to do it. Even me speaking to you, I can sort of see how you're communicating, what your comfort level is, whether you like something, don't like something, that type of a thing, and it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it. I mean, the blog post, obviously, like it's a write-up of what happened and the explanation, but you can get so much more information once you actually start talking to somebody. You can see like Joel was really upset by the way this happened with the employee originally, but happy about the resolution. You can see so much like that you just never pick up on in a blog itself.
So any
Yeah.
other points that any other tips that you'd give to anyone that's, building a remote team right now and maybe wants to make their team more productive? I think for you, you've already got an organization in place. So we have, the guys that are just starting, and I think we have a lot of information for them. But what we don't have, and it's so true because you talked about at the beginning how there's really no sort of manual on managing remote teams. It seems that you're doing it quite successfully. So any tips for people that have already built up a team and want to make that team a little bit more productive when we're talking about remote management?
Sure. One important thing is treat those people, and where I start from is I treat them exactly as I do any in-house team member. A remote team member is every bit the equal and fully involved member of the team as as in-house team members. It's very easy to neglect your remote team or to kind of like just say, well, they're remote, like I'm just going to send this to them, and it's sort of like input output sort of thing. But you have to actually look into the person and work with them just like you would a person in-house. You need to help establish a clearly defined career path with rewards for completing major milestones. You want to have KPIs for them. You want to follow up with them on a daily basis. You don't want to just assign something and like assume 3 weeks later that your project's going to be fully completed exactly as you had planned it. You need to be in communication. You need to answer questions. You need to ask questions. A lot of times remote team members, they can be afraid or nervous to ask questions, especially from other cultures. And it's critical to, when you ask questions, that it kind of makes them feel more comfortable with expressing their concerns or suggestions. Many times they'll have a way of doing something that will be much better than what I had assigned, And it's hard to get that feedback if you're not keeping an open dialogue with them.
Yeah, cool. All right. So if people want to get in touch with you, I guess they can also they can comment in the blog post, but the website is coalitiontechnologies.com if they want to just sort of check out what you guys do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Coalitiontechnologies.com. Feel free to email in. I think we have our email at the top of that website as well as our phone number. Love to get in touch with people. If they have questions about it, glad to help out. And somebody needs SEO or marketing work, that's what we do. So.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Joel.
All right. Thank you, Liam.